I can't wait to disappoint you. Happy Tuesday, everyone. So the vandal who attacked J.D. Vance's home with a hammer has been identified as a 26-year-old man who goes by the name Julia. Police suspected it was a biological male because he knew how to use a hammer. Scientists have identified the bat families that are most likely to spark the next epidemic. Coincidentally, they were all found at one man's house. Yeah. New York's new housing czar previously posted that she wanted to make life hell for white people, leading many to fear she'll institute a policy where they'll have to date her.
Man, I love being black. Oh.
Me too.
New guidelines say that an at-home genital warts test could replace the pap smear for some women. Experts warn, however, that if this man shows up at your house, he's not a doctor. Joe Biden's pension is the largest of any president in history. And he's already got an eye on some new real estate. A growing number of patients are getting butt lifts using fat from dead people. I know, leading many to believe that Kim Kardashian is a serial killer. According to a new study, since ending affirmative action, colleges are now admitting Asian students at incredible rates. We will have an official number once an Asian kid does the math. It's not racist if it's a compliment. McDonald's is being sued over falsely claiming its McRib contains real rib meat. In related news, Wendy's is also being sued for their burgers not including real redheaded girls. What's the point then? And finally, scientists have discovered a compound that reverses Alzheimer's disease in rodents, which is good news for rats that lose their way inside Richard Gere's ass. Thank you. Thank you. So the allegations of fraud were more than Tampon Tim could absorb. I wonder, has he been perfect in this?
Have I been perfect in this? God dang no. I wasn't perfect as a teacher. I wasn't perfect as a coach. I wasn't perfect as a soldier, but I was pretty damn good at all those things. Game's over for him now. It was all me. I was the bad guy or whatever. Well, put up or shut up now and tell us what you're going to do to make this state better. Answer these tough questions. Quit hiding behind this and expect for the next 11 months for me to ride you like you've never been ridden.
Yeah. He's going to go broke back on your Whew. Whew. So who's to blame? Well, I bet it's those conspiracy theorists and right-wing YouTubers breaking into our daycares and demanding access to our children.
We've got conspiracy theorist right-wing YouTubers breaking into our daycares, demanding access to our children. Every minute that I spend defending my own political interest would be a minute I can't spend defending the people of Minnesota against the criminals who prey on our generosity and the cynics who want to prey on our differences. So I've decided to step out of this race, and I'll let others worry about the election while I focus on the work that's in front of me for the next year.
Focus on the work. It's a little late for that, Tim. That's like closing the barn door after the horse opened a bogus daycare center for Somali tots. And from what we've seen in Nick Shirley's videos, no one has access to children at those daycare centers. Hell, they're nowhere to be found. Those places are as child-free as Planned Parenthood. Yeah. So $9 billion in Somali fraud doesn't just happen. In part, it comes from a culture that runs on tribalism, piracy, and scams. But it's enabled by a government of cowards who turn a blind eye for fear of being called racist. So now Nick Shirley is some right-wing conspiracy theorist? No. Nick was pounding the pavement armed with a camera and a set of brass balls, while Walz was MIA, menstruating in action. But Elon deserves credit, too, when he bought X. Before that, a story like this would have been smothered like one of Hillary's former friends. And don't forget Musk's Doge, which put waste, fraud, and abuse front of mind. We now realize our massive debt isn't just about spending, it's corruption. And that we could save trillions by simply rooting out the fraud. But still, you gotta wonder, would this have happened 30 years ago? Even Bill Clinton wouldn't have allowed this. For one thing, those skinny Somali broads, they're not his type. But we used to share responsibility when it came to civic order. But identity politics destroyed that. Now we are to believe that we aren't worthy to call out lawbreaking because the lawbreakers are oppressed and we are the oppressor. Identity politics erased all culpability, whether it's mass theft, open borders, fraud, recidivist crime. If you dared to call that out, then you were racist. Ask them not to lie, cheat, and steal. Hell, you might as well demand they don't marry their damn brother. But that stupid racist claim was enough to turn clowns like Walz into cowards. And talk about bad timing. Walz was in charge as his state imported people from low-trust societies where no shared values exist. I mean, why would Muslims, which most of these Somalis are, move to a country where strip clubs outnumber mosques? And where the average temperature of their home country is 88 in December, but minus 17 in Minneapolis? There's nothing here for them except American taxpayer dollars. And true, we do have our own criminals. But when a city becomes rife with scams, counterfeit goods, pickpockets, frauds, economic and government inefficiency, you're left with warring tribes fueled by the suspicions of others. Gone is the assimilation to our values like hard work or hamburgers and Stallone films. Instead of one community of Americans, it's communities. And some of them see the rest of us as ripe for the plucking. So Tim may be gone, but the problem's still here. America, it used to be a high-trust country, but we've offered sanctuary to scammers who, rather than assimilate, operate with the same lawlessness they employed in their homeland. And people who suspect others of ripping them off, well, that breeds contempt. Suspicion replaces goodwill, and aggression becomes the mode of communication. You see it in public transportation, in restaurants, college campuses. Hell, everything is still locked up at Walgreens. Is that because of you? No, it's because of cowards like Walz, who let scammers turn our paychecks into paydays. Let's welcome tonight's guest. She's smart and cheerful and makes Democrats fearful. Republican side of his Harry Maguire. He's like Eminem. They're both from Detroit, and neither does comedy. Comedian Dave Landau. Her arms remind people to floss after meals. New York Times bestselling author, Fox News, Dick Rabbit, Eric And a night with him is covered under Medicare Part D. Former NWA World Champion and host of the Planet Tyrants podcast, Tyrants.
Somebody was a little too happy. He's like, whoop.
And so much to cover here, but what do you make of I'm gonna ride you like you've never been ridden before? That guy could have been VP.
Well, thank God he isn't. And that is a deeply unhinged, unwell man in the governor's mansion in Minnesota, but thankfully not for much longer, since he has decided to take himself out of the race. In all of this, Tim Walz 2.0 that we get to enjoy, right? We got 1.0 in the Kamala era. This 2.0 where he's decided to just completely give up his job and say, now I'm really going to do the work, is absolutely hilarious because you can just see how the more pressure he gets, the more unhinged he becomes.
Right.
He was barely pushed during the presidential primary and during the general election. And what happened? The man couldn't keep his facts straight about his own biography. He lied about his military service. This guy's got a real hard problem with the truth.
Yeah.
So this 2.0 version is an angry man who doesn't have the capability to be honest with people, coupled with billions and billions of dollars in taxpayer fraud and scams. He is going to implode in a way we have not seen from a Democrat in a very long time. And at this point, Republicans in Minnesota need to be paying attention. If you want to try to win the governor's mansion back, if you want to win those legislative seats back, now is the time to get candidates who can actually win in that competitive state, because it can be competitive this year.
Dave, and let's not forget, Kamala Harris thought Mayor Pete was too gay.
Yes. Well, he can ride pretty good, I'm told. Everything that Tim Walz says just sounds like it should be whispered to you in an airport bathroom.
Yes!
Every single threat that he has. He's an idiot. That's all it comes down to. Like, he was getting mad that people were driving by his house yelling stuff, and now he's stepping down because they were right. Yeah. I mean, this guy lost $9 billion to people that were opening schools called leering centers.
Yes.
You couldn't even spell learning.
Yes.
It's astonishing. I'm going to enjoy watching his head explode. It's going to be worse than Kennedy.
Yeah.
What, too soon?
I liked it.
I don't mean for real. I mean a metaphorical.
You meant Fox's own Kennedy when she found out we were out of tea in the green room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone that upset.
Oh my God, it was frightening. Kat, doesn't he kind of remind you of every kind of nightmare you have of being woefully unprepared or unqualified for a job and you're on the spot? He always seems like he's in a panic.
Well, I would also be in a panic if I was doing that much lying. That would be so stressful.
Yes.
But this is about you, Greg, because I want to ask you something.
Yes.
Are you going to be okay now that he's leaving?
See, I don't think he's going to go anywhere.
Do you have hope that he's going to have like a podcast or maybe a cable news contract?
Yes. You know what? And he might go to jail. I mean.
Or that. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, I think a lot of people that he's ignoring, that he is definitely ignoring, is just that this, like, dude, like, this is your fault.
Yeah.
Like, you were given so much opportunity for reasons I don't understand, and I think most people don't really understand. And you were also given so much of our money, and you weren't really, like, paying attention to how that was best case scenario, you weren't paying attention to how was it being spent, or you refused to look, or whatever else. And he's acting like a victim. Mm-hmm. And he's not a victim, he is a failure.
Yeah.
Those are very different things.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.